Thank you for coming here, Alexander.
Sure.
Now, we see the markets in green. Are we there yet? I mean, the fiscal cliff, is it thrown to the shelf, or is it the holiday spreads?
I think we've still got a lot to do on the fiscal cliff. After the election, we saw the Democrats picking up a little bit of momentum. And I think a lot of people were hoping Republicans would do a little bit better. There was concern that both sides would dig in their heels and we wouldn't get any compromise. Markets sold off. More recently, we've heard from both sides that they're willing to talk. So markets have stabilized. But I think in order to get back to the highs of September, we need to see some real progress on the fiscal cliff, because unless we address that, it will push the U.S. Economy into recession early next year.
But what kind of progress do you want to see? Because some people like El Arian from PIMCO, they are telling we're going to be talking about this 6 months on the road. So they're going to just postpone it, or they're going to buy time. Do you agree with that?
Well, obviously, it's a very unpredictable situation. It's in the political realm. No one really knows. One dynamic that's a little bit troubling is that if nothing is done, the Republicans will be blamed for pushing us back into recession. So hopefully they have an incentive to do something. The president similarly doesn't want to see the economy moving into recession. But the exact formula is hard to, predict with any conviction. Although I think at this point, markets want to see the current tax rates extended for at least 6 months. But then more importantly, they want to see an agreement to revisit next year the entire tax and entitlement system in the U.S. so that even if it's only a temporary tax cut extension, it's not viewed as just kicking the can down the road, because the politicians agree to sit down and look at everything. I think that's the kind of combination that the markets want to see. And right now, both sides are saying the right things, so people are willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if we get into December and we still have nothing but these sort of high-level platitudes with no details, I think we'll see a return of volatility. So we have to keep watching. This is probably the biggest macro risk facing not only U.S. equities, but global equities, because the U.S. is a quarter of the global economy, the biggest export market in the world. So this is a major tail risk for investors everywhere.
I feel like you're a little optimistic. You feel like it's going to be resolved. But let's look at the worst case scenario. You said that there will be lots of volatility. But in terms of some factual figures or other issues, if the worst case scenario happens, if they do not resolve, what would happen? Well,
the Congressional Budget Office predicts that if we were to suffer the full brunt of this $668 billion fiscal cliff, the U.S. economy could be expected to contract 0.5%. Next year. And that's versus consensus expectations of 2% growth currently. So clearly the markets believe there's room for a compromise. I mean, the economists, according to the Bloomberg consensus, 2% growth. CBO, if we go over the cliff, minus 0.5%. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that the markets expect something to get done. We're generally in that camp. So we're constructive on equities here. But the exact details and timing, I think, are impossible for anyone to predict with a high degree of conviction. Does it happen by the end of the year? Does it push into next year? What's the exact, makeup of the deal? No one knows. And I think, as we know, stocks hate uncertainty. And the reason we're getting all of this back and forth is because it's very difficult to figure this out. If it was obvious what was going to happen, then, the markets would be, much smoother sailing right now.
That's right. Some say that it's not the fiscal cliff, it's not the EU deadlock, it's not the Middle Eastern, the concern on what's going to happen there, but it's the corporate profits that we should be concerned about in terms of the U.S. corporate profits. Right. They're declining more and more. And in fact, Mark Rober said, I think we should see S&P 500 about 20% down. So do you agree with that statement? 20% down, is it a little higher?
No, we don't agree with that. And the whole premise of the question doesn't make any sense. The fiscal cliff could push us into recession, or not if they do a deal. That affects corporate profits. So they're not unrelated issues. It's not like, don't worry about the fiscal cliff, look at corporate profits. I mean, that's kind of a stupid way of looking at it. The fiscal cliff affects corporate profits. They're related. It's a food chain.
It already did. Do you agree?
Well, no, because arguably, there's been a pullback in corporate spending because of risks around the cliff. But you can't separate the fiscal cliff from corporate profits. One affects the other. The only reason investors care about the fiscal cliff is because it will have a negative impact on corporate profits. So the assumption that they're separate issues, I think, is wrong. As to profits falling 20%, no, we don't think that will happen. The consensus currently looking for about 10% earnings growth next year, according to the Capital IQ consensus. We think that's probably a little high. It's probably going to be more in the 5% range. As you mentioned, companies have been missing lately. Analysts have been revising down.
Right.
In the third quarter, earnings growth is up about 2% year over year. So we see mid-single-digit profit growth over the next year if we can avoid the full brunt of the fiscal cliff, which we believe that we will.
Yeah, I agree on that with you because of the labor market. We've seen companies being more reluctant in terms of the fiscal because everyone was waiting on that decision.
Right.
But I just wanted to give you the message from another analyst that was all over the markets. Going back to S&P 500, Dow Jones, do you have any year-end projection? Do you see a Santa rally this year happening? Because every year we're waiting for it, and now, as of even 2 days ago, they start talking about it.
Right. Yeah. No, we don't forecast the markets for a few weeks. We maintain a 12-month forward target on the S&P 500, and it's currently 1,500. So, we are moderately bullish on U.S. equities, but we don't pretend to know what things are going to be in 6 weeks' time, which I think is your question. We have a 12-month forward target, 1,500, relative to the very low yields available in cash and bonds. We think 10% type returns in equities are very attractive right now. Obviously, there's an above-average amount of risk because of this fiscal cliff situation. But our base case is that we will see a deal. We will avoid the full brunt of it in the first half of 2013. And so our moderately bullish case sort of rests on that assumption.
You're a global strategist.
Right.
You cover all the markets and you cover the global markets as well. Where would you put your money? I know you said some bonds market, equity markets, but also in terms of geographical location. If you had the money, would you put it in certain areas? And going back to the U.S., would it be cash, bonds, equities? Where would you invest in?
Well, I mean, we like the U.S. globally. We have for a while. It's been one of the stronger markets. So I think you continue to like the U.S. if you believe that there's going to be some deal done on this fiscal cliff. At the sector level in the U.S., we're overweighting healthcare. We're also overweighting consumer discretionary. So the consumer has been quite resilient throughout. What's been weak is more on the business side. So those are our sector recommendations in the U.S. As we look around the world, I think China is interesting. Valuation's very low. It's been a very difficult market for a while, but we're starting to see since the summer a real pickup in growth. So I think we're getting more confident in the soft landing in China. So we think that's an interesting area in emerging markets. Whereas in Europe, a trough is still elusive. People are hoping we're bottoming now, but we need to see a little bit more information on that. But if we look at China, since I think July, we've seen things like retail sales, industrial production, the PMI, manufacturing is now expanding again. So I think China is probably an interesting place to look, especially given how low the valuations are, because it's been a weak performing market for several years now.
Thank you so much. Our time is up. Are you going Black Friday shopping, by the way?
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. It adds to the economy, doesn't it? Thank you so much for coming.